The version of you that's always worked isn't going to work in the new economy. It isn't going to work in the shifting economy. It isn't going to work in the new social media algorithms. I think a lot of people are waking up right now out there saying, wait, what's happening?
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
And we're back.
With another episode of He Said, She Said.
And we're literally back from the longest freaking car ride. So, context, we decided that we would go back to Arizona to spend Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving weekend right now as we record this. So we'd go back to Arizona to do Thanksgiving with the family, which is awesome. Super fun. We love doing that. But this time we decided not to fly with the dogs. We decided to drive for some crazy reason. I don't know why. But we drove, and it was almost 8 hours going there for what's normally a 5.5 hour trip. And it was over 7.5 hours coming back for what's normally 5.5 hours. Now, that's to be expected, right? Busiest travel days of the year, blah, 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 all that stuff. But when you're stuck in a car that long,
it's like creeping along traffic and you're at like a 15 mile per hour. It's like when you feel like you're not making progress in that, you're a little like, oh God.
If I was driving at normal highway speeds for 7.5 hours, it wouldn't bother me because progress feels good.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? So anyhow, Lori and I have become very good at using that time wisely. We listen to podcasts, we listen to books, we generate really good conversation between the two of us.
We talk through things that we know we need to talk through for the next year or whatever's going on in our life or business or relationships or planning.
And so one of the things that we did is Lori's like, ooh, I'm going to look up and I'll let you actually explain where it came from. I forgot how we even got on, but like, oh, there's all these questions that go with this thing. And we ended up asking each other some of the best questions. Where in the world did those come from? I was driving. You were the one Googling.
Okay, well, it was a rabbit hole, Chris, of me telling you about the year of the fire horse over the year of the snake. So the year of the snake was all about shedding. And we were just kind of talking about this last year and even like the last few years of feeling like a lot of things that weren't working were kind of like showing themselves out the door. Like things are shedding out of our life that aren't really sustainable, whether it's ways we were doing business or whether it's businesses or whether it's people. And instead of feeling like, oh my God, this feels crazy, I was telling him about, this is literally the year that it is for everyone. It's about getting rid of things that really don't work, aren't sustainable, and don't serve you anymore. And instead of looking at it like, oh my God, why isn't this working? It's what is working. And it is about letting go of those things and almost being happy that they left, even though maybe it left in a way that you didn't like, or it feels disruptive, or it doesn't feel great the way that things are changing. But one thing that is true about the world, one thing that is true, I feel like we've been around long enough in our 40s now, is to say that change is the only consistent thing. And if you resist change, that's only the place where pain comes from. That's only where feeling stuck will come from. That's only where saying things like, oh, it doesn't work anymore, or things are hard, is when you resist change. So the people who can change the fastest and who can really ask themselves hard questions, then those are the people who are going to be able to win.
That's right. And so that's how we got on the questions. Was there questions around change? Like,
yep.
What kind of changes do you desire? And what are you really not sharing that you do want to change? Like really good questions. And you kind of got them from chat, but we just went through and kind of cherry picked them. Mm-hmm. I should say you did. I was driving. But it was really fun because you'd ask one to me and then I'd ask it back to you. And there were 5 or 6 of them that were like, wait, we need to share these on the He Said, She Said podcast, because with holidays coming up, with road trips coming up, with everyone shifting into the new year, people need to ask themselves and their partners and their friends these questions.
Okay, so whether you like this or believe this or not, this next year is called Year of the Fire Horse. It is all about momentum, except I want you to really think of a horse. Like you have a really insanely amazing racehorse, but no matter what, if you put a jockey on there who's too heavy and you weigh him down with a ton of stuff, even though this is like the best horse on the track, it's still not going to be able to run as fast. So year of shedding. You have to think of it that way. These questions are kind of based around like, what do you have to also let go of? And what does your next year need to look like in order to catch the momentum of the year that I believe is available for you in every year, if I'm being honest, but especially this next year.
Yeah. You don't want to waste this racehorse that we're given over this next year, right?
Yes.
Is this astrology? Is this, what kind of woo-woo thing did this come from?
It's the zodiac year. Yeah. And then every single year like that, you are, and this is Chinese astrology actually as well. So every single year has like an animal or a sign given to it.
Is there Japanese astrology and like Cantonese astrology?
I have no idea.
No? Okay. So anyhow, it somehow led us down a rabbit hole that generated really good questions. We're like, wait, we need to arm people with these questions so they can ask their partners this, so they can ask themselves this, so that they can ask, around the holidays for good conversation. They're important for a number of reasons, and especially as you're going into a new year. And so the first one that stood out was, if I acted boldly this month, what would I do? And here's why I loved this question. It wasn't like, if I was more audacious, what would I do? Because I know you teach a lot about audacity. It had a distinct timeline on it. If I acted more boldly this month, what would I do? I mean, that made me be like, oh God, okay, it's got to be able to happen in this month. I've got to do it right away. I can't think about it for a while. What would be the big, bold thing that I would do this month?
Oh, and I knew mine right away. I was like, okay, because I'm in a fundraise for Glossy and we're raising over $1 million. I was like, oh, I would literally get way more bold with who I'm asking. I would go to people who I knew were able to write bigger checks, or people who I knew had the network of people who could write bigger checks, so that I'm not having to fill this with 50 people. Instead, I could fill it with 3 people or maybe 1 person. Like, what if I blew the lid off of what that meant for me and really was like, why am I thinking, oh my God, this is going to take so many people? And instead saying, what if it only took 1? What if it took 3? If I wanted to solve that problem, if I wanted to fill this in 3 people, what bold moves would I have to make? So it makes you solve a different problem and think bigger than the problem.
Side note, you mentioned your fundraiser for Glossy. Where should someone reach out if they want to be an investor? They know somebody.
Oh my gosh. Well, they can absolutely DM me because I check all of my DMs on Instagram myself. So you can just DM me on Instagram. Any connections to people who know are accredited investors who can write checks. That's amazing.
All right. So that first question, if I acted boldly this month, what would I do? We loved that one. The next one is this. What version of me am I outgrowing? What version of me am I outgrowing? And this is a great one to ask yourself, to ask your partner, to just use for the next year planning, because how many years in a row do you plan what works, even though you may be outgrowing it, instead of planning for how you want your life to look at the end of that year or even 2 years away? And this is the toughest thing for people to do, because listen, you have to make money. So that means you stay safe where you can make money. You have to be able to pay your bills. You have to be able to support your family. You have to be able to do all those things, except that acts as a trap. We don't get creative enough. And so we keep choosing the version of us that we know works for this next year and the year after that and the year after that, because it's always worked. Except here's a wake-up call for you. The version of you that's always worked isn't going to work in the new economy. Isn't going to work in the AI economy. It isn't going to work in the shifting economy. It isn't going to work in the new social media algorithms. Like with us, we used to just be able to lob up a couple of posts. Hey, this program's opening, get on the wait list. We used to just be able to throw up a couple of posts like, hey, DM me for this, and sell everything out. And that has changed big time. And so sticking to the old version of us instead of learning new tricks would be a trap. And I think a lot of people are waking up right now out there saying, wait, why did this stop working? This has always worked for me. This version of me has always worked for me. These actions have always worked for me. What's happening?
Yeah.
And so this question of what version of me am I outgrowing is a very important one.
I think if you really let these dig deep and to think on these and not just answer these lightly, they're going to be really confronting. And that is the goal, because you're probably avoiding exactly what you need to be looking at in order to make really big change in your life. And I know that this is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for us. Chris and I don't love what comes up with these answers because we know we need to change them. So for me, what version of me am I outgrowing? It's really the version that would outsource some really hard things that I thought I didn't know how to do. And I realized that every time I outsource my knowledge on maybe finances or numbers, or every time I outsource my knowledge on like, oh gosh, well, they know how to do TikTok for a product. I don't know. They should do it. I'm not going to have to learn it because I'm paying for it. It's like, even though you might be paying for a service, maybe some of you are outsourcing your social media and you're like, why isn't this working? Because you need to understand enough about it, and you do need to contribute for a while until you're dangerous and you really understand all of the stuff about it. Then you can outsource, then you can train that person perfectly. Then you can get your power back around it. I feel like whenever I've outsourced my power and been like, oh, I don't have to know that, they have to know it. This isn't true in all cases, but it is true in most cases. I would say that that's the version of me that believes that I can just outsource the hard things.
I love that.
Actually, guys, hold on a sec. I'm going to interrupt this podcast for something really, really important. And if you've been a longtime listener, you know I have never, ever interrupted my podcast to share something before. But the reason why I believe it's so important is I just had my annual tax and wealth planning meeting. And I've been given access, just like every year, to so many incredible tax saving hacks, so many privileged moves that I can make with my family office, that it's kind of unfair that everybody else doesn't get these. Now, if you're familiar with the family office, you have to have a certain level of wealth to be able to work with one. And most people listening probably can't just go and work with my family office. And so the reason why I haven't brought this up before is I haven't actually had a solution for you until now. A solution, quite frankly, that is so important, I'm interrupting this podcast for it. Now, dear friends of mine started a company a while back called True Wealth. And not only do I trust them dearly, I have watched what they have done with my friends and my clients to be able to coordinate their tax situation, their business compliance situation, their insurance situation, and their personal wealth management. Because these are not separate things. This is the number one mistake I see entrepreneurs make. They go out and they piece together these separate people for their business compliance and for their tax situation and for their personal wealth building, and they don't work together. Except that's the problem. Each one of these things actually depend on each other to maximize the savings. And I don't mean by a little bit, I mean by a ton. Because I trust True Wealth so much, I am sharing this with you right now, not as an ad, because I am not getting paid for this, but because I believe it's that important for you to explore. If you have a multiple six-figure business, preferably they're a good fit for those with a seven-figure business or close to it or higher, then I want you to hit pause real quick and set up a free call with my friends. Set up the call at chrishutter.me/wealth. That is chrishutter.me.me/wealth. I'm telling you, you can't afford to piece these things together anymore. You are wasting so much money. And if you're sick and tired of feeling like you're working too hard to have too little money left, these are the people that'll fix it, because there's a lot of money out there that you don't realize that could be left over that you don't have access to. So just set up the free call. They're my friends. I've literally never interrupted a podcast for something like this before, so you know it's important. Go to chrishutter.me/wealth and then let me know how it goes. I'll let them know that you're calling. All right, back to the episode.
Third question. What is my inner voice telling me that my fear keeps dismissing? I loved this one. Listen to this question. We all have this inner voice. It's like, this isn't working anymore. This isn't working anymore. Or you should go here. You should go here. Or you should try this. Or you would like this. Except we dismiss it out of fear. Like, oh, but that would take too much time. Oh, someone might judge me. Oh, my partner may not like it. Oh, my other business may collapse, right? Like, except we all have the voice that we're ignoring, not because the voice is wrong, but because of fear. Fear of losing something, fear of change, fear of whatever. And this is where I think people get really trapped in life, and they wake up one day, they're like, the fuck kind of life how did I end up here? You know what I mean?
I love that question. It reminds me of the one we used to ask. It's, what are you pretending not to know?
Yep.
That's a toughie.
This one's even more confronting though, because what is my inner voice telling me, right? That's what are you pretending not to know? But the second piece, that my fear keeps dismissing.
Yeah.
Not dismissing because it's wrong, not dismissing because it's not a fit, but simply out of fear.
Yeah.
And man, fear just holds you down, right?
It does.
All right. The fourth one that you guys need to be asking each other, what way of making money feels aligned for my next chapter?
Okay.
Or you could flip this one. What way of making money no longer feels aligned for my next chapter? You can ask it either way.
Okay. Okay. So I struggle with this one though, Chris. You have to tell me your thoughts on this. I like this question a lot, but there have definitely been ways that I can initially feel aligned with that then I'm like, this is really hard. And then I can take hard as misalignment. I think a lot of people are doing that right now. They're like, this is hard. This isn't working the way that I thought. I don't know if this feels aligned anymore.
This is a great one to examine because there's two ways that you sabotage yourself and you think it's not aligned, but it is. Way number one, you're bored of it. You're tired of it. Right about when you become being known as an expert for it, you say, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to be known for that. You spent 5 years figuring out how to be known as that person. You finally became the top of your industry. You're finally starting to print some money. And you're like, I don't want to be known as that anymore. It's no longer aligned. Now listen, it may not be aligned.
Right.
That's okay. But the thing you need to ask yourself is, are you willing to accept the financial ramifications of switching away from something just because it doesn't feel aligned? Because you're choosing two different types of riches. You're choosing alignment, or you're choosing to finally reach those financial dreams that you fought so damn hard to get the money machine printing for.
That's so interesting. So you could be really aligned with just needing, like, sometimes you have to view things as the vehicle. Like you could be really aligned with really wanting $1 million in your bank account, and the vehicle you may not be super aligned with, but you're so aligned with the money it's making that you're able to kind of say, okay, well, this is the vehicle for right now because I am aligned with this, and that's what is able to make that money, and I understand it, and I can scale this, and I have systems, and I have the people, and I'm known for it. But you could feel a little misaligned, like, oh, but I'm starting to transition into this. I want to do more personal development than fitness. This was my story.
Yep. Well, I said I would give you two problems that people face when they ask themselves this question. The first one was like, I don't want to be known for this anymore just because you're bored with it.
Yeah.
The second challenge, the second problem, or the second thing that'll trick you is that something has stopped working or shifted. And so suddenly you say, well, this doesn't feel good anymore. This isn't working. So it's no longer aligned. When that may not be the case. It may still be absolutely aligned. You may still need to be that coach, or you may still need to be that fitness expert, or you may still need to be that tech person, right? It may still be very much aligned, but what's happened is you stopped finding new ways to market. You stopped finding new ways to shift with where the attention is going. You stopped finding new ways to bring new butts through the door and put butts in seats. And if you aren't shifting with the market, as the market shifts, as attention shifts, as gimmicks shift, then it's very easy to say, oh, this feels bad. This isn't working. It must no longer be aligned. When that's not the case. For something to be aligned means it has the potential to fit your financial goals. It has the potential to make you happy and fulfilled. It fits within your moral compass. And it fits with what you would be proud to be known for. Even if you're bored of being known for it, you'd still be proud to be known for it. That's how you know if something's aligned. Just because it doesn't feel good, just because you're bored of it, doesn't mean it's not aligned.
Yep. Okay, last question. What money story am I ready to retire?
Ooh, this is a good one. So everybody has money stories. You know what money stories are. They could be from when you're a child. Like your parents always said, oh, those rich, greedy assholes, or that rich, greedy boss, right? Those are money stories. They could be new ones, like something that worked in your life stopped working. And all of a sudden you built a story around, oh, well, that industry's gone forever. There's a million different versions of money story. Or you meet somebody and they're like somebody that you looked up to, and you paint a picture of them being really successful, and you meet them. You know, they say never meet your heroes. I don't agree with that, by the way.
I don't.
But once in a while, you meet somebody like, you, that is such a letdown. And then you form a story like, never mind, I don't want a big audience, or never mind, I don't want the biggest podcast, or never mind, I don't want all that money, or never mind, I don't want to be seen on social media, which are all forms of a money story. And so if some of these newer ones have crept up for you, or if you're still battling an old one, it's time to like define that story. And it's time to say that you're ready to retire it, because if you keep living out the same money story over and over. You're going to keep getting the same results, just different year.
This one, I was like, oh, I want to retire this story that I have to work really hard for my money. This is something that has always been with me since childhood. Like, if you want to make money, if you want to make more money, you have to work harder. Now, I've had many examples where that was not true. But what was true is that I had to do the setup of the systems and of the machine and of the audience building, things that I was doing in order to be able to make money easier later. So this is also a bit of a trap because sometimes people are like, okay, you need to just get rid of the story that you have to work hard for your money. Although I haven't met anyone who hasn't worked really, really hard on the front end of setting up a system or getting everything in place that you need or building the huge audience in order to then have it easier later. So I think that when we think of these getting rid of money stories, it's like understanding that, yes, you may not have to work hard forever, but I think it's also really disempowering when it's like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have to work hard for your money. Like, really lean into this idea that it's going to be easy and you can sit and meditate and you can sit and relax and it's all just going to come to you. I think that's actually going to like hurt what you're doing. I think it's knowing that if I want to be rid of the story that I don't have to work hard for my money, like I don't have to work as hard, then I need to start asking myself a different question. What do I need to be doing in my life right now in order to not have this story and have money coming in maybe when I'm sleeping? Or what do I need to do now in order to have money later on that I don't have to be working for every single day? I think those are a lot more empowering questions than being like, God, I don't believe that I'm going to have to work hard for my money.
Mine's similar to yours, but different. Mine is the more of my time and attention I exchange with somebody, the more money I'm going to make, right? Like, here's my boundaries for coaching, but I'll totally violate them. Or here's my boundaries for the mastermind, or I'll totally violate them. Because if I do, then it's going to make sure that you sign up again, or it's going to make sure that you get extra good results, or going to make sure that, you see and feel that I care extra. And the truth is, all that you are paid for is impact. Somebody could spend 24 hours a day with you, 365 days. And if they don't make impact, you're still not going to hire them again. You're still not going to stay in their program, right? So It's a falsity that, if that's even a word, that the more time you spend, the more valuable you are. And I know where mine came from. Mine came from when I was a partner in that mortgage bank. My other partner, Todd, that founded it, that started it, he would always insist that you had to work in the office. He had to see you how long you were working. He had to make sure that you were the last to leave. Actually, it started way back when I got kicked out of college and I worked in the car dealership. I had a boss that was like, once I got promoted to the F&I department, they're like, you're the first to get here and the last to leave. That's how we know you're doing a good job. That's what this job requires. So in 2 different careers, one from my partner, one from a boss, it was ingrained in me that the more I see you spending your time and energy, the better job you're doing. And that's a hard one to kick. But that's the money story that I absolutely want to retire. Okay, the last one. This is a good one. This one can trigger people. This can be tough, but it's a good one. Ready? Who do you know needs to be replaced in your life with a higher quality person?
Woof.
Who do you know needs to be replaced in your life with a higher quality person? Guys, this could be you're sticking with employees that are not good enough, but you just don't want to have the conversation, or contractors or partners or people you're collaborating with aren't carrying their weight, or a business partner.
Hair person.
Your hair, anything.
Are you getting irritated?
But you refuse to face it, change it, and upgrade it. Now, when it comes to like upgrading business partners or people that are giving you ideas or coaches or any of that stuff, that's why we offer the mastermind. Like, this is one of the easiest ways, and I'm referring to both masterminds, but especially the elite one here. This is one of the easiest ways to trade out some of the people, whether they are mentors or whether they are peers that aren't serving you anymore, for people that will, because we hand pick and assemble the best of the best every year to be in that room for the elite entrepreneur mastermind. And we only allow like 30 businesses in there. So it stays really intimate. So every seat that we select matters. And we've got one promise for that program. Everything you need that year is in that room or one introduction away. Now think about that promise. If you decide, hey, I'm going to be in the Elite Entrepreneur Mastermind this year, which is for businesses that are $500,000 and up in earnings, most are 7 and 8 figure business. It means that we're going to uphold a promise that says everything you need that year, whether it's an idea, a person, a connection, is already going to be in that room because of how we've strategically built it, or one introduction away. Now, to do that means we always select very diverse types of businesses. So the people, we're in full enrollment mode for it right now, right? The people that have said yes recently, concierge doctor and hormone expert, a really high-end accountant, social media expert, somebody who has a super beautiful high-end salon that's making millions of dollars. Those sound like really unrelated businesses, but that's by design. Because for us to deliver the promise that, hey, everyone locks arms for a year, and therefore there's going to be enough different types of ideas and expertise and backgrounds and industries in there so that whatever you need is in that room. If you need something because health, something comes up, they're in that room or they're one introduction away. If you need something for legal in your business that comes up, it's in that room or one introduction away. If you need someone to fix your social media, it's in that room or one introduction away. And that's how we curate that room. So if you want to be in that room, there's only a handful of spots left to interview for. I want you to, right now at the end of this thing, this is very important, go to chrisharder.me/mastermind and fill out that application so we can have a great conversation and see where you fit in the room. Because it's not always about the biggest business. It's not about the fanciest following. It's not about the biggest accomplishments. It's about the best personality and business fit. We curate that room. We take curating that room so seriously. That's why I myself, instead of handing off to some salesperson, that's why I myself still do the interviews for the Elite Entrepreneur Mastermind. Is because I'm not selling, I'm curating. And so if you want to have a conversation about it, it's the most elite, most spectacular room that we put together every single year. Go to chrisharder.me/mastermind. That's chrisharder.me/mastermind. Fill out the app, first come, first serve. I'm doing Zoom interviews left and right, and I want to talk to you about your business.
That's Chris and I literally being able to be in your business for a year.
Yep. Real intimately.
Like literally being able to be side by side in your business, which is so exciting to be able to go through the year and seeing where you start to where you end up through a year's time. So we're so excited to lock arms with you guys.
And it's cool. It's a hybrid coaching and mastermind program.
Mm-hmm.
You get texting access to us, like to our real phones, not some bullshit text number. You get one-on-one coaching calls with me throughout the year. This is where we meet in person for several days throughout the year, many times. This is the program where it's hybrid coaching, hybrid mastermind, because you also get to plug in everyone else's expertise. So go to chrisharder.me/mastermind, get that application. We'll have a conversation.
All right, you guys, we are so excited to hopefully get to spend the year with you. And also, like Chris said, if you're 500K and below, that is for our Mentor Collective Mastermind. So you can actually just DM me mentor, and I can give you information on that too, because that one rocks our world as well. That one's online, and it truly has a coach for every single area in your business. And you do get access to Chris and I every 2 weeks to answer your questions online, which is also really incredible that we go in there and get to talk to you face to face. So you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.